Hey guys, Phil/Polygon here. Welcome to episode 14 of the channel. This is my second video in about 3 days, so a little bit quicker than I normally post, but I'm just getting so prolific. No, actually I just couldn't sleep. So I thought let's be productive with this time instead of just staring at the ceiling. Fired up the game, went out into Ulasil after dark, check on what goes on out there in the waning hours of the morning. And you know, man, what goes on in the waning hours of the morning out there? The ghouls come out. It was a pretty brutal session of some knockdown, drag-out street fights. My initial intent was, that was a pretty funny little synchronized parry there. My initial intent was to go out and work on my toggles, implement some of the stuff that you guys shared, advice and tips and commentary and stuff, which was stellar, by the way. Thanks for all of that. If I can pick up even 50% of that stuff, I think I'll be toggling like a champ in no time. But that late night crowd is not the dueling crowd. So I pivoted a little bit, and it was a pretty cool experience to go out there, break out of my comfort zone of the honor duel, play a little bit different, play a little bit scrappy. And it's got me thinking more and more about sort of the invasion versus street fight versus honor duel dynamics, and the benefits of doing all of those to being a well-rounded player. For the most part, guys out there were just out for blood. So we are going episode 14. Out for blood. I have no reason why I said it like that. Sorry. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to stick with my previously established MO from prior videos and spit out a little bit of context before jumping right into things, just to explain where I'm coming from. So if you've seen previous commentaries of mine or met me in the game or just kind of know me as a person, I gotta say, if I am not in the Honor Brigade, I'm at least knocking on the door of their clubhouse, probably trying to get in. I play very clean. Try to play at least. I really enjoy 1v1 honor duels. I try to steer away from perceived cheap tactics. So when I say things like playing scrappy, it's still probably pretty tame compared to what most people might define as playing scrappy. Case in point, I just cheap shot that guy. I didn't really, it was actually a failed kick. I feel pretty terrible about it. He comes over and kicks me afterwards. Fuck you, man, what are you doing? You know what I'm doing, man? Waiting for you. I didn't want to just outright kill him because of that last horrible experience I had in episode 12 where I lost all my souls. I was just trying to get his attention. I tried to kick him. I failed. I should have dropped him some humanity as an apology. Sorry. If you ever come across this video, man, I'm sorry. That was not intentional. Afterwards, though, he comes in hot. Man, he comes in like the sun. So I get the impression he's a little bit sore, a little bit upset, either about the cheap shot or that prior match that we had. Swinging wildly, looks like he's trying to circle around for some BS attempts. This really set the tone of the night, which I think is a good thing. There was a lot of guys, like I said, out for blood. And I have been thinking about this a lot lately, being a duelist. And specifically regarding the rules of the duel, you can get pretty stunted and pretty spoiled existing within the rules of the duel. I've always said that I want to be a well-rounded player. I really want to be able to handle any PvP situation that this game could throw on me, and that is not something you are going to learn by restricting yourself to honor duels. Now don't get me wrong, I still love honor duels. It is absolutely my preferred method for PvP. But more and more, I have been going out and trying to expand those horizons a little bit and find situations that I am absolutely not comfortable in to try and come across some things that you might not come across in a traditional honor duel. And I kind of identified this as a problem for me a couple nights ago when I came out, just being a little too comfy in my comfort zone. When a couple nights I came out and was looking for duels, couldn't really find anybody. Everybody just wanted to street fight. And I guess when I say street fight, I mean it's a 1v1 match, but you're not necessarily existing within the confines of the honor duel. You don't have the pomp and circumstance of the honor duel, but it's still a 1v1, not a gang situation or anything like that. So street fight. Everybody wanted to street fight. I was looking for duels, and so I hit the bonfire and went somewhere else. Sort of like, all right, I'm out of here. If you guys don't want to play like this, I'm going to go find some people that do. And I realized that that is not going to get me closer to my goal in terms of wanting to be a well-rounded player. A well-rounded player is able to throw down with the best of them, regardless of what the best of them are throwing down. If somebody is throwing out honor, awesome. If somebody's throwing out scrap, Okay. If somebody's throwing out straight, underhanded, dirty tactics, I got to be able to deal with that too. And getting to that point is not something you're going to find when restricting yourself to the rules of the duel. And this clip right here is actually the one that kind of made me lose my shit, because I got summoned in, redstone summon sign. That guy's chameleoning by the stairs. I went looking for him, and he's just waiting to erupt in a fireworks display of dark magic. And I had a little bit of problem with lag there. But after I crumpled, I kind of flipped a switch in my head and said, alright, it's going to be that kind of night. Let's change up the strategy a little bit. And I said, this is a great opportunity. If this kind of stuff is going down right here and right now, I'm not going to leave and go find something I'm comfortable with. I'm going to take this head on. So I resolved to find that guy again and again and again and again to face it head on, applied directly to the forehead, and try and do better and try and get better in those situations. Or like this guy, he was clearly going for the pivot BS. I mean, I'm sure his camera is just locked in a perpetual 360-degree arc. So I tried to go up against it. I tried to bust out my little BS buster, my scimitar. Really? Bust out my BS buster? Nice job, Polly. But I tried to whip out my scimitar, hack at him a little bit, flip around and prevent that pivot BS, but I failed because I don't have a lot of experience in doing that kind of thing. Because a lot of that thing doesn't exist in honor duels, or doesn't exist in, air quote, real honor duels. So I think what I'm going to start doing to broaden my horizons a little bit is actively seeking out PvP situations that I don't like, or that I am very uncomfortable with. If I pick up somebody's summon sign and he comes in and I don't like the way that he fights, I'm going to pick that sign up again and again and again and again to get used to it, to get comfortable with it, to keep thrusting myself in that situation, dunking my head in that bucket of cold water until I eventually do get comfortable with it and I'm able to experiment with it and devise strategies against it. So when it comes up down the road, all is well. I can be that well-rounded player I aspire to be. Here's a little funny thing. Never toggle escape and then turn your back and try to run away. That is a free backstab every time. Nice little nuance there to the toggle escaping, thrown back to episode 12. I probably should have been able to puzzle that out without actually witnessing it, but it was a harsh lesson. So here's our friend again with the dark magic. I'm going to seek this guy out time and time and time again. Alas, this time there's another little lag problem. What is going on there? What is happening? Ah, well, I'll get him next time, and I'm going to keep trying to find him. Another thing is, if I get trolled a lot by these invaders who come in and just use, really questionable methods, because they're invaders. I mean, that's kind of their job. If it gets too bad, sometimes I'll leave the area, and I'm gonna stick it out. If somebody is trolling you as an invader and just tearing you to pieces, just handing your ass to you, I'm gonna stick around and just force myself to deal with it and try and develop strategies to get better at it. And here's another round with our dark magician friend. And in this one, actually, it gets to a point, so he just keeps spamming his dark beads and spamming his pursuers and all that kind of thing. It gets to a point where I am no longer even interested in trying to hit him. I just let him spam that stuff, and I'm just kind of dancing around trying to dodge it. I basically turned him into a practice dummy for trying to dodge dark bead, and I start experimenting with all the different ways you can roll out of the way, roll through it, roll to the side. Rolling backwards does not work, but just kind of using the opportunity, putting some sort of educational on an otherwise infuriating opportunity to try and improve and just get a little bit more well-versed with my technique. I took the same approach with some weapons a couple episodes back. I think I said pick up a weapon that you think sucks and go out and use it for a week or something like that, just to broaden those horizons. And I'm taking that same approach with fighting guys that I don't like fighting. Now, so here's the clip where, yeah, I'm no longer even interested in winning or hitting them or doing damage or anything like that. I just want to practice dodging dark bead. Rolling back, case in point, doesn't work. But it's a great educational experience because you don't come across a lot of these things in, air quote, real honor duels. And so it's sort of like, yeah, you know what? Keep spamming. I'm learning. Maybe not that time. And like toggling, I've got a feeling this is going to result in a whole pile of losses coming down the pike. This is going to be a pretty trying little set of ordeals, which I guess is what makes it an ordeal, right? It has to be trying. But another thing I'm going to try and do just to sort of keep my sanity in check throughout this process is I often have a tendency to rationalize after a loss and say like, well, that guy only won because he's using X, Y, and Z, or it's easy to win if you're using whatever gear combination. Nothing specific comes to mind, of course. No beautiful Japanese swords or specific rings of a certain material and color hue. But I need to start looking inward for that kind of thing. Instead of saying like that guy only won because he X, Y, and Z, I need to say, where did I fuck up? Where did I drop the ball? Where did I fail to seize some kind of opportunity? Looking into that mirror. Every time you get a big red, you died. And that's awfully touchy-feely, but I mean, I do think doing those kind of little mental checks is pretty important to refrain from throwing your controller across the room in anger. I may or may not have done that from time to time, like the batteries pop out of the back and stuff. No, never happened. So yeah, I'm thinking I might include some of that stuff in episodes to come, just a portent of things to come. Thought I'd float that idea. It's been 14 episodes of duels, more or less, thus far, and thought I might spice it up with some of that stuff. I've got some lower level characters that I'm bringing up through the game, like the minor leagues. Being the purist, gotta bring them up through the game. And just random invasions and playing through the game in human form and all that kind of thing. So definitely those different types of PvP situations that I was talking about to try and get more comfortable with that. Let me know what you think about that. The only reason I footnote it is because I have received some pretty positive response from the dually nature of the channel thus far. Dually in terms of other pertaining to the duel, not necessarily the Ford F350 with the double wheels and hips and all that kind of thing. That was actually a really nice parry. Not to go all over the place here, but I practically put up a billboard that said, hey man, I'm going to attack after this roll. Are you ready? And he was ready with his hornet ring in tow. Nice parry nonetheless. But yeah, let me know what you think about spicing it up a little bit with the clips. Fair warning, if I'm working on both toggles and fighting in PvP situations that I'm not comfortable with, it's likely to be a fairly rough go for the next little bit. Cut me a break there. Hopefully some of the newer players can sympathize and some of the vets out there can get some comedic gold out of it. Maybe some pangs of nostalgia, harkening back to those learning days. But yeah, let me know what you think about that. And in the meantime, I'm just going to keep going out there, thrusting myself into those uncomfortable situations like this guy. This is something that you don't see in the air quote real honor duels. The wog into the backstab. Lucky for me, he just missed that one. Whew, a little too close. But yeah, picking up those summon stones from guys that I don't necessarily like the way they fight, hanging out for trolley invaders, seeking out some PvP in situations that I am not comfortable with, all in the quest to improve, just to elevate that game and become that well-rounded player. So let me know what you think. I wanted to say thanks a ton to everybody that left comments and tips and advice on the toggle video. There was some killer stuff that came through that helped me a shitload, and I'm sure it helped a ton of new players like me too, just kind of cruising those comments. You guys kick ass. Thank you so much for that. And as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Feedback is always welcome. Comments, give me thumbs up, thumbs down, and sub if you like it. We'll see you next time. So concludes episode 14. Out for blood. I just wanted to say out for blood like that again. So stupid. See you guys.